someone just do me a favor and
You want to do it? No, you do it.
a little more.
Smack it.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Dramatic But Valid. We're here this week. Hope you guys are... Oh, yeah, I'm Trey, and this is...
I'm Heather Day.
And we here in your ears to talk some good talk and also give you some of our thoughts for the week and what's been going on and everything. It's really, really cold outside, first of all, so it took a lot for us to be here in the studio. I just want to give us a shout out for that.
It's the kind of cold that hurts. It's
Yes.
painfully cold.
You feel it to your bones, and if you're not on the East Coast, just be grateful that you don't have to go through months like this.
But it's cold. It's very cold. Shout out to everybody. Stay warm. Stay hydrated. Make sure you wear your layers and double sock it up.
Yes. My dramatic but valid thought of the week.
How you feeling?
Yeah, I'm going to just tell you how I'm feeling, It's okay to say no, guys, okay? And I say that because oftentimes, especially when you're in your 20s, you have your parents or your family still trying to, expect things from you. And then you have your friends, they might need help with certain things as well. And it's okay to help your friends. It's okay to be there for your family. But a lot of times, it really can take up your time and space for you to be able to find peace within yourself. And sometimes if you say something like that, especially, if you have a family that has older people from the older generation, they might say, oh, you're being selfish, you're being selfish. Your generation is so selfish. But my point is this, if you in a world where everybody is being selfish and you constantly put other people in front of you, how can you ever really, in a sense, get ahead or anything like that? You're always going to be walked over in a sense. So my dramatic but valid, I think, point is that put yourself first, put your priorities first, and don't feel bad about doing it. Don't feel bad about taking a mental health day and saying, you know what, I don't want to function today. I just want to, wake up, make some breakfast, make some breakfast and, put on some Netflix, put on whatever show you want to watch or a podcast, anything you want to listen to, and just take the time out for yourself. So, yeah, that's my point for today. So, go ahead, Heather. How do you feel about that? Is my point validated? Is it
very valid?
Do you feel me? Okay,
very valid.
Okay. I'm not out here alone.
I think that what the issue is for so many people, including myself, I think all of us, is that with doing that comes a lot of shame and comes a lot of guilt. And I think that, depending on your family, or sometimes it could be a lot of our families are taught that, you should feel guilty for those things, but it comes from somewhere. And it may be something, I think, very specific to women.
Mm-hmm.
Like, women cast down generational shame onto each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, I understand it, how you want to strive as hard as you can to be as perfect as you can for everyone and put on this front and put on this face that you have it all together and you're able to juggle all this stuff. But at the same time, it's not realistic and it could be very phony. And then eventually, it's going to come crumbling down. So I think a good way to navigate it is, my dad is really big on forgiveness recently.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just talking about how he forgives himself and he forgives others. And I think it's really good to try and forgive yourself. Set your boundary, forgive yourself for that boundary, because you're going to feel guilty and you're going to feel bad. Oh my God, I'm disappointing everyone, or I'm disappointing myself. And we have to let go of that and kind of work through it.
Yeah.
Do you feel, is it guilt that
definitely,
you feel?
Definitely, because especially when you, again, I come from a single parent household. So it's been me, my mom, and my grandma. So when you come from that, it's you being there is there's so much value placed on that, where it's we need you to do this, we need you to do that, because if you're not there, who's going to do it? So when you deal with that, yeah, there's a lot of guilt that comes with it, because I'm a family person. I love my family. But at the end of the day, I started realizing when we grow old and we start getting older, as we get older, at the end of the day, we're going to be left with ourselves. Who's going to really, it's sad to think that. I don't want to think that way, but eventually, how the circle of life goes, people grow old, they pass on, things like that. Now you got to deal with yourself and where you're at now. And like, you know, those people who you were trying to please, trying to do so much for, they're not there no more. So it's like, now you got to sit with yourself and where you're at within mentally, everything with your life choices, everything. Because as you know, family can have a lot of influence on that.
Definitely.
On your life choices, your career choices, all of that, where you live, all of that. So, yeah.
So I was watching a documentary on Netflix recently, and it was about Xanex, and just talking about like the benefits that so many people have by taking medication, and also obviously the slippery slope that it may lead people on when becoming like addicted to Xanax, and how far it could really go for someone's life. And it was really, really interesting because I myself have struggled with depression and anxiety, but I've never ever thought it would be okay to even consider the idea of taking that next step, because I just feel like, you know what, maybe I didn't try breathing hard enough. Maybe I could stretch a little more. Maybe I could, you know, take a longer walk. But I think that it was just really interesting, just like watching the documentary. I think a lot of people should watch it if you have, you know, time during the holiday season. But I would say, like, how do you feel about kind of this overall change in society with people becoming more anxious and more interested or, you know, open to medicating themselves?
Yeah. I mean, I think that you can see it basically if I mean, my thing is, especially after the pandemic, because if you look at the statistics or whatever you want to say of the amount of not only adults but teenagers who, I think it increased. I forgot what the percentage was, but it definitely increased, like with anxiety and depression throughout the pandemic. And I think that was because we were kept off, like, you know, kind of kept away from each other or being able to go out and different things like that. But I think that now, I feel like because there has been, I hate to say it, but so many tragic kind of stories where we have like stories where there's celebrities that seem like they have it all together, but then they go and take their life and things like that. I think people are starting to maybe wake up a little bit more to the issue at least. But I think that when it comes to medication, it's a really, for me, like, it's like I feel like medication can help, but I feel like I'm also against it in a way because I feel like the whole pharmaceutical business is just a business in itself, you know, and certain things are pushed, you know, to us and
That's
everything
dramatic.
else. Yeah, I mean, it's the truth.
Valid.
It's the truth. It's the truth. Like if you talk about I'm depressed, or if you say certain things, like I know for myself, you go on Instagram, you might get a bunch of ads about therapy, about medications for depression.
Because they be listening,
all of that,
y'all.
They be listening. They listen. I'm serious. And so like it just, you know, if you're getting pushed that kind of narrative where it's like you need this medication or it'll help you feel better, you know, this, that, and the third, the advantages, then some people kind of just, I hate to say it, but just swallow the pill and they just kind of go along with it, where maybe there is another natural remedy that you could go down. But
maybe I could have drank more tea.
Yeah, no, seriously. Because I mean, we've been here for many years. Humans have been here for many years. Like, that's what I always think of. Like, we've been on this planet a long time, guys. So
with a lot of stress.
And a lot of struggle.
A lot of stress. I mean, there was a time that women couldn't even walk down the street without there wasn't even a word for certain things that we recognize as traumatic now, but there wasn't even language for it. So imagine how stressful it could have been for other people. I forgot about slavery. I mean, for 5 seconds there.
Slavery is a big, large part of history. And you know, our ancestors, they were able to somehow get through it. I mean, like, you know, of course, I'm sure there were times like, you know, like again, with the slave ships where a lot of them didn't make it. They threw themselves over the ships. So, you know, there is like that example too. But at the same time, I feel like just in general, like, you know, we've been able to kind of withstand a lot, like, you know what I mean, as a people and just as individuals too as well. But I feel like now, you know, we have the medication, but like, and you know, some people say it helps, and I'm sure it does benefit. But again, I feel like, again, there's always money at the end of it, especially in this country.
According to the CDC.gov, about 1 in 10 Americans aged 12 and over take antidepressant medications. I don't know why I said medicines. And it says that non-Hispanic white persons are most likely to take antidepressant medication than persons of other races and ethnicities. And then it also says that females are more likely than males to take antidepressant medication at every level of depression severity.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
That is interesting.
And it's very I would say that I would imagine the same thing, especially, for the race and the
and also males not
the gender.
The gender.
Definitely.
Yeah. Because that's a big thing, and eventually we're going to have some guys come on here too so that we can get the male perspective. But seriously, in all seriousness, men especially, they suffer a lot. And a lot of times the statistics don't record them because they aren't feeling open enough to go and, become a statistic or go and tell their doctor, hey, I'm having depressing feelings, because they don't feel like they can open up. I have a lot of guy friends and homies, that I know, and they come to me and tell me their problems. And, a lot of times I think I'm like, they would benefit from therapy. But if you mention it, they feel like, oh no, I'm okay. Like, I don't, that's taking it too far. But it's
you'd actually be surprised in the documentary.
Yeah.
Xanex, I'm going to pull up the real name.
Yeah.
There was a Black woman who wanted to open her doors more to Black men who wanted to do therapy. And it was really cool because, to her surprise, way more Black men were interested than her and her team had anticipated. And so I think that, a lot of Black men are interested, especially if it's really chill. Shout out to my sister. She is, I don't want to put her business out there. We love you. Anyway, she be really helping people in her career. And she tells, okay, never mind me. All right. Anyway, shout out to all the therapists out there.
A summary.
Basically, when she helps a lot of Black men, it's really a really special experience because just being someone that they could talk to. And something also that I found in the Xanex documentary is actually called Take Your Pills, Xanex. It's a Netflix film. It came out 2022.
Check it out, y'all.
Check it out. But she also, the therapist that we're talking about, found that a lot of Black men have difficulty even identifying that they have been traumatized. On her intake form, she was saying how, please, if you've had any trauma, please describe it, something to that effect. And so many Black men didn't write anything. And it wasn't until maybe 5 sessions in that they're talking about the time they got shot or the other time they got shot. And she's wondering, why didn't we start there?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, I didn't recognize that as trauma, which is deep within itself.
It's
but
another level. Yeah. Another conversation.
But yeah, so it's really interesting. If you guys, again, feel like watching it, let me know how that goes. Because I'm all down for a conspiracy theory every now and again. Because, hey, maybe there's this two-way street of this being pushed for some profit. But we're not there yet. That might be, in 10 years from now when we watch that documentary.
We're gonna get there.
Something else that I was watching I found really, really interesting was a little bit more about the royal family. I know that maybe it might be played out, but I wanted to just bring this little tidbit up that I thought was really cool if I can try and connect the dots. Because I see here we have a note about fairy tale weddings, right?
Yeah.
So it's crazy. Take a journey with me. It's crazy to think that, oh wait, I can't talk about it because it's never mind. Sorry.
We were almost there on the journey.
Almost there.
We were right there. But fairy tale weddings, is it necessary?
Yeah.
No, I think not. Not in 2022, but that's just my opinion. Because I feel I mean, this is the thing. Everybody has a different number of friends, so I won't speak for everyone, but I'll speak for myself. I move in small circles, and I have a small, intimate group of people that I call my friends, and my family or my bros, my sisters. And so for me, to me, a wedding is such a sacred ceremony. So I would feel I would want it to be more intimate. And also, you get to save some money because, I mean, the economy is wild right now. So I would just put that out there too.
Or
the economy is wild right now.
Or you could take a trip, you know what I'm saying, and just fall in love, chill in the crib, you know what I'm saying? It's you know, it's understood, doesn't need to be explained type shit, you know, get on my wave. That's
Yeah, that's true.
How
I
did
mean,
get here?
I need that commitment though, because
Same.
I need to know that, you know, when we like, let's say we living together, okay, and it's 3 years down the line, and you know, maybe I don't know, maybe we having some problems. Maybe I'm not cooking that great, or maybe you leaving out, you know, your drawers on the floor a little bit too much and expecting me to wash the clothes too much, or maybe something is, you know, just wilding. You know, we just having problems, like, and then now you feel like
I don't want to do nobody's laundry.
Okay, yeah. I mean, look, yeah. Well, hey, look. Okay, I don't. This is my thing. I don't mind if you my man. If you my man, that's me though. To each his own. That's just me speaking. It
gives me. Shut up.
But what Jill Scott say?
They forget you from Philly sometimes.
I say it like this: if you can tell me what to do, then you can tell me what to do. But if you can't tell me what to do, you can't tell me what to do.
Damn,
Does that make sense?
It's as simple as that. Like that's really how I feel. I feel like if y'all both have a mutual respect, it's like, and I'm not saying that you know, as a woman, I'm going to be doing everything in the house, sweeping, mopping, all this other stuff. We split the chores, but at the same, we can split the chores. We can split the chores, but if I love you, I don't mind washing your clothes. Why not?
If I love you,
know what I mean?
and you love me, and it's like that, but don't be just expecting just because you bought me dinner and you bought me them cute sneakers that I didn't even ask for. Then now I have to wipe your boo-boo drawers, like, and clean them. I don't know. It just makes me feel offended, and like it's 1940 something. Like, I could feed myself.
Okay.
So then I get into the battle.
Okay.
Let me sit back. Continue.
But let's be real. Like, let's be realistic though. Like, when the kids come, you know, like, I'm just saying, like, no, but when the kids come, and you guys, you know, you got the kids running around and you trying to split the tasks. I mean, eventually you're going to have to split some tasks.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean? Like,
if I love you.
If we love you, that's the truth. That's the center of it.
That's the center of it.
But my point is,
because if it's like a tit for tat, you could take that one right off, because the laundry's that's crazy. That's wild. That's just insane. It's just something about it. Too domesticated for me.
Get the commitment before you become domesticated.
Because I already cook.
That's the way I feel.
I already cook. I'm already about to walk that plate over to you.
True.
Stand up, woman. You know what I'm saying? And then, like, I'm gonna clean it because Lord knows you're not gonna do it. And I'm already in your crib, most likely. So let me go ahead and clean it, because I'm not even supposed to be here, right? Now I'm tipping and toeing with your laundry. I don't know. It's just
tipping and toe. Who said you had to be tipping and toeing?
Sorry,
though?
I'm triggered. Okay, finally, going into relationships and scandals. Oh my God, did you hear? Tory Lanez was found guilty on all charges.
Guilty.
Celebratory dance.
I mean,
I'm sorry, like, not the whole prison, not the. Listen, this is my take.
Go ahead. You go.
This is my take.
Go ahead.
If you, and this goes for everybody, this goes for me. Maybe, hey, you know, life gets crazy. Liquor makes your feelings go wild. But I'm saying, though, if you're going to, according to that third witness that they didn't even know was going to testify the way that he did, boom, plot twist. If you're going to come out of a car hooting and hollering, agitated and aggravated, waving your gun, pop, 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 pop 4 times, I mean, listen, bad things happen. Sorry. And that goes for Miss Kelsey Mamas too, because Miss Girl, we remember that it started off with you too. This is just not your trial. This is not your moment. But when it comes, it's going to come. And I think that poor woman was sitting on that floor after she did her dirt, after she was fighting and doing all that carrying on. And 2, you guys really were taking advantage of her, point blank period. And like, just hearing the witness, like, I think the last name was Kelly, I'm pretty sure. Let me look it up. But hearing them describe the way that allegedly Megan was like looking from that kind of like viewpoint was horrible to me. So yeah, you should be in trouble. I'm the same person who's gonna say, I just have to be so careful with what I say. But I'm the same person who does not want to see Black men incarcerated, point blank, period. But I mean, right now we still dealing with that same kind of system. So we just gonna have to go ahead and see you later when you come out of jail because he was wilding.
I just have one question.
Mhm.
Why? I mean, how did his name is Justin Edison, the bodyguard? How was he just so located after
He
the
was
guilty
chilling.
the guilty verdict came out? Where was he at?
He was chilling. He took that
But-
money and said,
But I feel like he just skipped his testimony. Like that's a whole, you know what I mean?
Maybe he
Another
can get in
witness.
trouble. Maybe he will get in trouble. But
I
either
don't know,
way,
it's a little
he ain't
shifty.
come. Oh, it's super shifty.
You want to
Super
know what
shifty.
Tory Lanez had for his Christmas dinner from jail though? Like this was actually out. It's not funny. It's
All right,
really
come
not
on,
funny.
then go ahead.
I'm sorry, but this was his dinner. They said that he had 4 ounces of roast turkey, 4 ounces
That's
of mashed
nice.
potatoes, 2 ounces of gravy, 1 ounce of cranberry sauce, 4 ounces of green beans, and 1 cup of tossed green salad and a dinner roll.
That's nice.
And he got a pumpkin. They said a pumpkin muffin. See, I mean, I don't know why that was out. I
But
just
I'm
thought it was
saying,
like,
that
how
was
did
a
they
lot of
even know that,
ounces.
though?
Y'all heard them
Who put the order
ounces?
in?
I don't know,
How did
child.
they? Like,
Anyway.
I think he got treated a little extra, like, well.
A lot of
He's a
protein on
celebrity.
that meal. A lot of calories. Well, that's good for him. I'm happy he had something nice to eat. And I wish him all the best, truly, from the bottom of my heart. Now that he got it, you know what I'm saying? It's guilty.
You
We
think-
can move forward.
think
And
they'll
I
go-
really don't want nothing else crazy to happen
What about
to him
the
because his
appeal?
hairline's already receding.
What about the appeal?
The pill?
The appeal.
Oh,
The
he's going to
appeal.
try. Him and his daddy. And that,
When he came out the courthouse, I don't know if y'all saw that that clip on Instagram, but he came at Rock Nation hard. Like he was furious. But I felt it. Like I really felt like he was
Sorry.
like, this was.
And you know what?
what?
Since I may
So
turn
funny,
an
but-
ear to a theory or two, who knows? You never know. Something may come out in a couple months. Maybe you never know. But I'm just saying, for right now, for today,
They need to interview the
the
bodyguard.
state
So-
of California found Tory Lanez guilty. And that's all I have.
and I'll say my piece. They need to interview the bodyguard.
They need
It's
to.
a little too shifty. Just pop back up.
But you
I
know
don't
what
care.
I do want to like talk about real
Okay,
quick?
yeah. What's up?
It's crazy to me how, okay, this is so scandalous, but
Yeah.
everyone likes, not everyone, a few people on Twitter. You have to narrow it down.
Twitter.
A few people on Twitter who got on my nerves, maybe bots, maybe real people, but they were saying how since she lied, the whole case should be thrown out. Now, I don't know about the bots and I don't know about the Twitter users who I'm referring to, but I'm just saying,
Mhm.
we're talking about her sexual history. We're talking about whether she was romantic or not with a man for the world to know.
True.
We're also talking about if she was beating on her best friend. Woo. That's a lot. We're also talking about whether or not she was deeply insecure.
Mm.
Eeh. And we're all acting like you should have stood up there and told all of those details. That did pertain to the case and trial, which he shouldn't have done.
Mm.
But that's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna just say,
It's okay. I said my piece. I said my piece.
but people are acting like they
No,
wouldn't.
I know.
They would be like, oh yeah, and by the way, like this is the dirt that I did, world. Like you probably want to keep that to yourself. And I don't think it should be a reason to like throw the case out. But I'm sure if I flipped it around a couple of times, I probably see how it was wrong. And
There's a lot of question marks. A lot of question marks.
yeah. I wish it was like a little simpler than that. That way we can have more of a victory, but it was a bit complicated for sure.
Calm down.
All right. Woo! Woo, woo,
Calm down on
woo.
that.
Speaking of SZA,
This week.
We're so proud of her and her record
Sister
breaking.
gets love every episode, honestly. Like I feel like she should.
She's killing the game with a 200. What was this? 200 albums chart. What's this? Anyway, basically, she's doing really, really great with the numbers, and she's killing it. And shout out to her. I hope she's having a wonderful
coming
week.
out too. Her videos should be on the way.
Yeah,
although she be taking some time with them videos, I'm not gonna lie.
I know.
I would like a quicker turnover, but it's okay.
Miss Michelle Obama was in the news recently for her very, very like traditional views on marriage that are rather refreshing to hear. Trey, how did you feel about it?
No, I love. First of all, I love Michelle Obama. I just want to say that, put that out there. I'm a fan. But either way, she literally pretty much encompassed, I feel like, just a real woman, and just like the way she talked about marriage and even her relationship with Barack. Because she literally said there were 10 years where she couldn't stand her husband. And you know, just it's just funny because like when you hear that statement, it's like we all know she's talking about Barack. So it's just like in my head, as soon as I heard her say that, I'm like, oh dang, like he really dropped the ball like when it came to like their marriage for a good decade. And I wonder what exactly was going on within that decade that, I mean, and of course, like when he was the president, there were so many rumors about him cheating with this one and that one. So like, and I just always was like, Michelle, oh, you didn't,
Let me go ahead.
you don't remember that?
No.
When I think they said that he was
Watch your mouth before you speak on
it wasn't that he was cheating. Maybe he was sitting by this one lady, I think it was a sporting event or some event. And they were like, he was whispering in her ear a little too much or something. And I just remember being like, yo, Michelle, like, don't disrespect Michelle like that.
Right.
Don't do that.
Oh,
because we stand for Michelle.
Oh, there is some scandals.
There's some stuff.
I didn't know.
Some stuff.
Oh, he dated other people?
We
He proposed to another woman in 1986?
Well, I don't know about that. I didn't know he proposed to someone else back in the 80s. I just know that when they were she was the first lady and he was the president, something was going on with that, where he was sitting next to some lady and there was some pictures taken.
Well, I didn't really watch it enough, but I did see that she was just basically saying like you have to just stick through it. And yeah,
I'm trying to remember.
It was tricky for me because I know that like in this generation, this day and age, the girls and the guys will go ahead and just call it quits. But she's, giving us that not old, but like it actually is kind of old because it's like we don't really see that a lot. But it was refreshing. Whatever the reminders were,
real, like,
clearly
ride or die mentality, I guess.
Yeah.
It's kind of like no matter what the ups and downs, you got to keep going for, I guess, the foundation, the family and stuff like that,
And speaking of family, she did say something about how she is not her children's friend. And she was saying, like, I think Kelly was like, are you sure you don't want to be their friend a little? And she was like, no, girl, because at the end of the day, I'm going to have to constantly tell them things that they don't want to hear. And it's my job to tell them those things, not to be their friend. So that was a good point.
I mean, I grew up with that. I mean, my mom said it flat out. This is not a democracy. She was like, I'm not your friend. I'm not one of your little buddies. I'm your parent. She made it clear. So, I mean, I feel like, would you be like that? Like with your like future kids? Or are you going to be more open to be like more friend-like level, I'll say? So, or would you want to be their friend?
I myself am a little more hippie, but my grandmother, who played a big part in raising me, was like not playing none of that. Very strict and kind of militant, even she would describe herself like, and I appreciate it in a way. Like when I would go over her house, there was a very strict routine. This is in Brooklyn. We will wake up, on your nightstand, you always have a glass of water waiting for you, which is like such a sign of love to me. And because she would wake up before everybody else. So this is like 7:30. She's up at 6:30, just, getting ready for the day. What are we doing? Going to the store. That's literally the goal of the day. But it's fine. We have to wake up when the sun rises. So we would have our little water. Then we would go over into the kitchen looking, hungry and dirty looking. And she would give us like a tablespoon of cod liver oil. We would have to gulp that down before we have our orange juice, because orange juice is a luxury, even if it's there. So, like, you know what I'm saying? Then we would maybe move on to juice. But before we get to juice, it's time to make that bed. So we would have to make that bed, and to a T though. And she's acting like she's giving you like the authority over doing the bed. She's behind you and she's pulling it tight and she's making sure it's all together. And then from that point, she don't want to look at you looking dirty and drool all over your face. And then you have to go get ready for the day, wash your face and start your day. Like, I actually appreciate all of that, because when I was home, it was like a little more like laid back, and it actually caused conflict, because now it's like, now we're fighting over me doing these things. At my grandma's house, I had no choice. Right. So I kind of appreciate that.
No, yeah. No, I know for me, my mom and grandma were both the same. It was like, there was no, everything you wake up, you do what you got to do. You go eat your food, you make your bed, you go to school, you come home, you do your homework.
Yeah. At the table.
At the table.
At the table. There's no...
at the table.
Can I do my homework in my room? Girl.
No.
Sit down at that table.
And my grandma, she's a retired school teacher, so I remember I used to try to play the game where I'd be like, oh, I don't have no paper, I don't have any, or I'd be like, I don't have a pencil, or the paper ripped, She would go right into the back room and literally go get a stack of paper and be like, oh, don't worry, I have it right here so you can do the extra credit and everything you need to do.
Scary.
I was like, wow.
I tried it.
I mean, I appreciate it now, but I don't know if I'll be that strict with I'm going to be kind of strict, but maybe not that strict with my kids. Because I want them to feel open to come to me. I don't want them to never feel like they can't come talk to me.
You can come to me while I'm telling you light
true.
On the sugar on the grapefruit. Like sprinkle it lightly.
True. True.
But yeah. Any final thoughts before we wrap this episode up?
I think for me, I feel like, again, just stay true to yourself, guys, and put your priorities first. That's it. That's it. Stay true to yourself and put your priorities first. I know that sounds cliche, but that's really what I'm taking away for this week. That's it.
And I would like to add, don't feel guilty for choosing you. It's okay to choose you. Exactly. Have a wonderful whatever you're having, day or week or month.
And thanks for tuning in, as always.
Thank you.